Welcome all in class 25 on electromagnetic theory. In this class, we will derive the expression of input impedance of a transmission line. Then based on the input impedance of a transmission line, a condition to obtain inductor or capacitor using transmission line will be derived. In order to derive the expression of input impedance of a transmission line, consider a transmission line having length L. The input voltage applied at the input, that is at x is equal to 0, is Vs, and resulting current at the input due to applied voltage Vs is Is. Line is terminated with load impedance ZL and current in the load impedance is IL. At distance x from the input terminal, the voltage across transmission line is Vx and current through the transmission line is Ix. So we have to find the input impedance of this transmission line, that is ultimately we have to find the ratio of Vs by Is for this transmission line. In order to derive the input impedance from the model of the transmission line, we know that the rate of change of voltage with respect to distance at point x can be written as minus r plus j omega L into Ix. Further, from the general expression of voltage or current in transmission line, we can write that voltage at point x is equal to a e raised to power minus px plus b e raised to power px. Similarly, Ix, that is current at point x, can be written as c e raised to power minus px plus d e raised to power px. Now differentiating Vx with respect to x, we obtain that it is a e raised to power minus px multiplied by minus p plus b e raised to power px multiplied by p. Now from equation 1 and dv upon dx that we have just obtained, and by equating the right hand side terms, we can write that minus r plus j omega L Ix is equal to a e raised to power minus px minus p plus b e raised to power px into p, or from here we obtain that Ix is equal to p by r plus j omega L into e raised to power minus px into a minus b e raised to power px, or we obtain that Ix is equal to 1 upon z naught into a e raised to power minus px minus b e raised to power px, where p was root of r plus j omega L into g plus j omega c, and this constant, that is p by r plus j omega L, we are writing it as z naught. This exercise is done in order to obtain Ix in terms of constant A and constant B. Now we have voltage as well as current in terms of constant A and constant B. Now we know that e raised to power px can be expanded as cos hyperbolic px plus sin hyperbolic px. Similarly, e raised to power minus px can be written as cos hyperbolic px minus sin hyperbolic px. Now by putting the values of e raised to power px and e raised to power minus px in ix as well as in vx, we obtain that ix is equal to 1 upon z naught a, because e raised to power minus px is cos hyperbolic px minus sin hyperbolic px. Similarly, minus b into e raised to power px is cos hyperbolic px plus sin hyperbolic px, or ultimately we obtain ix in terms of constant a and b having relation 1 upon z naught cos hyperbolic px into a minus b minus sin hyperbolic px into a plus b. Similarly, from the expression of Vx equal to a e raised to power minus px plus b e raised to power px, and after putting the values of a e raised to power minus px and e raised to power px, we obtain that Vx is equal to cos hyperbolic px into a plus b minus sin hyperbolic px into a minus b. Now our aim is to find the values of constant a and b for the line that we have defined by using the conditions that at x is equal to 0, voltage is Vs and current is Is. Similarly, at x is equal to L, voltage across load is VL, current into the load is IL, and voltage and current in the load are related by VL is equal to IL into ZL. So at x is equal to 0, Vx is Vs, Ix is Is. Similarly, at x is equal to L, Vx is VL and Ix is equal to IL. Or ultimately, we obtain that VL is equal to ZL into IL. Now by putting at x is equal to 0, cos hyperbolic px will become equal to 1 and sin hyperbolic px will become equal to 0, or we can obtain that Vs is equal to a plus b. Similarly, from Is we obtain that Is is equal to 1 upon z naught into a minus b, or value of constant a minus b obtained is Is into z naught. So from these values of constant a and b, we obtain a general solution of Vx, that Vx is equal to cos hyperbolic px and a plus b is replaced by Vs and a minus b is replaced by Is into z naught. So Vx is cos px into Vx minus sin hyperbolic px into Is into z naught. Similarly, Ix obtained is 1 upon z naught cos hyperbolic px into Is z naught minus sin hyperbolic px into Vx. Or just by elaborating this, we obtain that Ix is equal to cos hyperbolic px into Is minus sin hyperbolic px into Vs by z naught. Now we know the condition that at x is equal to L, Vx is equal to VL and Ix is equal to IL. So by putting x is equal to L into equations of Vx and Ix, we obtain that at x is equal to L, Vx is equal to VL. So VL is cos hyperbolic PL into Vs minus sin hyperbolic PL into Is Z naught. Similarly, IL is equal to cos hyperbolic PL into Is minus sin hyperbolic PL into Vs by Z naught, and by using the relation that VL is equal to ZL into IL, on one side VL is this one, cos PL Vs minus sin hyperbolic PL into Is Z naught, and IL is cos hyperbolic PL Is minus sin hyperbolic PL Vs by Z naught, we obtain this equality. Now differentiating the terms containing Vs on one side and terms containing Is on another side, and just taking Vs upon Is, we obtain that input impedance, which is Vs upon Is, is equal to ZL cos hyperbolic PL plus sin hyperbolic PL into Z naught divided by cos hyperbolic PL plus ZL sin hyperbolic PL multiplied by 1 upon Z naught. Now just by rearranging this equation, that is by taking common Z naught, we obtain that Vs upon Is is equal to Z naught into ZL cos hyperbolic PL plus sin hyperbolic PL into Z naught into Z naught cos hyperbolic PL plus ZL sin hyperbolic PL. Now dividing numerator and denominator by cos hyperbolic PL, we are dividing numerator and denominator by cos hyperbolic PL. So we obtain that Vs upon Is is Z naught ZL plus Z naught sin upon cos will become tangent hyperbolic PL divided by Z naught plus ZL tangent of hyperbolic PL. Now converting hyperbolic functions into the tangent function, we obtain that Vs upon Is is equal to Z naught into ZL plus JZ naught tangent of PL. So we can write tangent hyperbolic PL as J times tangent of PL divided by Z naught plus JZL tangent of PL. From this equation of the input impedance, we can see or we can analyze that the input impedance of transmission line depends basically on the load impedance. It also depends upon the length of the transmission line, and furthermore it also depends upon the characteristics impedance of the transmission line, which is generally a constant. So now we will derive a condition that how we can use transmission line as inductor or as an capacitor. Now let us suppose the load impedance is 0, that is load is at the extreme and it is short. So when we will put the value of ZL to be equal to 0, we will obtain that Vs upon Is is equal to Z0 into just ZL has become 0. So here again 0. So we obtain that Vs upon Is is equal to J Z0 tangent of PL, and which is analogous with the impedance of the inductor, which is JXL. So from here we can conclude that the inductive impedance XL of a transmission line is proportional to Z naught tangent of PL. So by varying the length of the transmission line, we can obtain an inductive impedance of desired value. Similarly, when we will put ZL to be equal to infinite, then input impedance obtained is minus J Z naught cot of PL, and which is of the form 1 upon JXC, because when J is multiplied on numerator and denominator, we will obtain minus J by XC, that is, it is of capacitive form. Capacitive impedance XC is minus capacitive impedance XC is of magnitude which is 1 upon Z naught cot of beta L PL. That is, by varying the length of the transmission line, we can have capacitive impedance of required value. So this was all that we want to discuss in this class. Thank you.